Okay, hi Gareth. So we're chatting today because we've got quite a bit to talk about, and rather than sort of producing a blog post, which I'm sure we will, and then pushing things out on social, I thought I'd pin you down and we'd have a little bit of chat about some real exciting things that are coming over the next few weeks. And a really good place to start is the ad platform. I know there's been lots going on there. So talk to me about what's left. In particular, I know we've only got a very short period left with the founders credit, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So we launched the advertising platform for registration about, could have been 2 months ago now. And as part of that initial launch, we had a founders credit opportunity, which will close on the 31st of July. So you've got about 2 weeks to go. If you register for the platform before the 31st of July, then you will receive $300 in ad credit when campaigns go live and you top up by $40. So we will, after the 31st of July, have more campaigns going with ad credits based on how much you top up your accounts. But the founders credit will not be there past the end of this month. So, but what does that signify? More importantly, that signifies that the campaigns for the advertising platform are going to go live, and that will be going live on the 1st of August. We are on track. We've got the final testing going through at the moment, and it's all looking good. Now, one of the other significant updates in what we're doing with advertising delivery is that we're opening up to agentic traffic. So along with the opening of the advertising platform, there will be a significant update on the search page. Along in the latest release, there will be points of interest information such as hotels, bars, restaurants. There'll be an updated and dedicated news feed and maps as well. So there is a significant update on the search page, including those items that I just mentioned, as well as an agentic feed. So when I say from the ad perspective that we're opening it up for as an option for advertisers to include their ads in agentic traffic, at the same time we are specializing, have specialized areas within the search results for agentic traffic. And what does that actually look like? Well, that looks like essentially an agentic JSON feed for each individual result and an additional endpoint for agentic traffic for those search results. I don't want to get too technical here. I think the point is here, high level, we're opening up search to be very attractive to agentic traffic. This is where the industry is going, and also connecting that up to the advertising network. I think it will be worth having an additional session, either as a FireSide again, or as an AMA around, the more technical details around that. Yeah, that's advertising changes and how that sort of fits into search updates.
Yeah, and I think that the agentic side of things is really interesting. As you've said, that really potentially sort of opens it up into a brand new area. But I just want to sort of dwell on the advertising for a little bit. Is in your sort of opinion here, is someone's watching watching this video or listening to you talk, how do you see this potentially fitting in to an existing business's approach to advertising online? As we know, the digital advertising space is large, crowded, but obviously is dominated by, £3,000 gorillas. So, if someone's looking at this and going, okay, but well, why should I? What would you say to them in terms of that? How would you sort of position Timpi in terms of a mix for someone to do some advertising?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our primary audience, if we look at end users, are people who care about privacy people that want a more ethical choice in searching, right? We don't manipulate the results. We don't track any of your information. And that's one of the largest growing sectors in search outside of agentic and AI, which I'll come on to. And so we have a very targeted audience for advertisers to tap into that at early stages before we move on and become more mainstream. Additionally, at early stages, we work on a bidding process. So at early stages, when we as we're growing the number of advertisers, there's significant opportunity to get some very cost-effective advertising through and hitting a new audience. So that's one side of things. The second side, when we look at the agentic traffic, is this is where the industry is going. Gartner has released a white paper very recently saying that over the next 3 years the market's growing by 1,000%, and instead of targeting users for advertising, or the retail consumer, should I say, advertisers are going to start and need to start looking at the agentic traffic, and that's really what we're opening up to and making very, very easy. So we're bringing in the agentic traffic into our platform, and we're opening that up to advertisers to target directly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that's an interesting take on it, isn't it? Is that I think within the advertising sector, more broadly, the ability to niche into very specific audiences is always a challenge. I've been in marketing for nearly 30 years, but I really think that really trying to dial up and really get that across to people around the core mission, vision, values of Timpi, as some of the products have not necessarily changed but have developed, is really still at the core of who we are as a business, and that's going to be very appealing to advertisers who want to really talk to those types of customers. So you've talked about the agentic side of things. Is just really, if you could dive into that in a tiny bit more detail. I know we said we will go into that and more probably in an AMA, but just talk around 2 or 3 of the key points, because I think that's probably pricked a few ears of people who are watching this. So what does that mean from a how does it sort of work theoretically without diving too much into the absolute detail?
Cool. Well, that's challenging, but I'll give it a go.
I know, but imagine you're talking to me, which you are.
High level theoretically,
the detail
Crikey.
would confuse me. So imagine it's the layman here, and you're
know
saying how is that going to work from an advertiser's perspective as well as a user's perspective?
Let me start off quickly then with where the industry's headed, and I've already touched on this. Is that 5 years ago, majority of online traffic majority of online searches were human searches. And as we all know, AI is coming to play, and that's had a massive effect on the market. As that is still being embedded into systems and processes, the economy and the market in general, the next phase, once that is embedded, is going to be agentic traffic and agentic use. And so we are preparing ourselves for that. Now, what does that really mean in terms of advertisers? Well, at the moment, they target the retail user, because it's the retail user who are making the searches and searching for things. That's going to change, and it has already started to change rapidly. Users won't be deciding where and how they search anymore. It's their agentic use, their agents who are going to be deciding where and how they search. Right, the end consumer actually isn't going to know or necessarily cares, because it's the agent that's going to decide on the quality of the results and where it's getting that information from. And so that's going to be the next big shift in the market. And we have that infrastructure to support advertisers to be able to deliver their advertising through agentic traffic to the end user. Now, what does that look like? Very high level technically, it means that as we have a search page that user go onto and they put in a search term, there's lots of information shown on that page. It's HTML, it's CSS, it's JSON, JavaScript, all kinds of different things that get loaded into that interface. And agentic traffic just doesn't need that, doesn't need all that information. It just wants a single simple feed, and with that, it doesn't need to look nice. And so we're essentially providing that feed in two different ways. On one level, it's at the individual search results. So like for every single domain and link that we show in the search results. And then also a completely separate endpoint, an endpoint being just a different URL, if you like, that the agent can call, which shows exactly the same information as the search page to the user, just in a different format. So it's efficient, it's fast, it's simple to integrate with. Now, which means now that we're really appealing to developers who want easy access to build their agents and quality, fair data to deliver to their end users. We're going to be getting a lot of agentic traffic. We're one of the first to open it up in this way to agentic traffic. And so we do need to manage that in a way, and there will be limits, but then we will be opening up additional data services for developers and agents to have higher rates, more data points as a separate service.
I was going to say that's a really nice segue into we talked about we started with the ads there, and the agentic is very closely aligned to that. People who are familiar with Timpi and have been to our Timpi.io site will have seen that data and data services have always been something that's been core to what Timpi were the direction of Timpi, but really with the developments with the SERPs, and particularly around what you're doing here with the agentic, those services are now a lot more mature in what they're going to look like. Developers, you may be watching this, or businesses that want to access these types of things, we've started to think about how that's going to work for them. And I know there's sort of 3 levels of access that we're going to be providing. So do you want to sort of talk through what they look like and how that's sort of going to work from a sort of hierarchical sort of perspective moving forward?
Yeah. So as you said, so the data services is really the third major thing to be released all at the same time. We're going to have the ad platform going live. Yeah, why not? Well, as people will hopefully see and maybe even grasp on this conversation, they're all intrinsically linked, right? And so we have the ad portal going live. We have that linking into the SERP page for agentic traffic, and then when the agentic feed from the service isn't enough for developers, then actually we offer the data services. So they're all intrinsically linked, all going live at the same time. It's an exciting time for us. So the data services at one level is providing direct access to our index, right, which has grown to over 2.6 billion web pages globally now, and still growing at a decent rate. We will be at 5 billion by the end of the year. And developers can tap directly into that. Now, it's not just raw data. There's upscaled metadata and information around industry, quality scoring, not safe for work. There's a whole host of information that we gather and actually utilize for our search that we're opening up to other people. And the 3 layers that you discuss is, firstly, we have the basic search API, and that has a limited number of fields and limited rates about how often you can actually call that endpoint. But that's usable for anyone for agents or applications that want fast, simple information searching the web. Then the next layer on top of that is our sort of bulk index API, and the number of data points open up from 5 data points up to 51 data points. And this endpoint is capped at 500 results in a single request. But that's it significantly opens up the number of data points that they can access. So you think, advanced applications, research, you could build a whole specialized search engine off of the bulk search API that we have. Think in the same way how DuckDuckGo uses Bing's index, right? This second layer of API will enable people to build specialized search engines around the world off of our index.
Yeah.
The third layer is enterprise, and that opens up all the access to APIs, but also large bulk jobs. And so if enterprises want large data sets, you're talking hundreds of thousands of records, then there's that bulk job. So that's the first layer, if you like, access to our index. Now, the second layer to that data service is access to our AI services that run on our GPU network, and they're pre-built AI models that run our infrastructure that people can, developers and organizations can call upon. At the moment, when we go live, there's going to be an endpoint for our AI ask and answer. That's Wilson. AI image detection and AI content detection. So you can pass the image across and it'll tell you whether it's AI generated or not, similarly with content. And there's going to be more and more AI endpoints, if you like, coming in the following months. But those are the three that we're starting off with. So when the service goes live, you're going to have the three different levels of data access, plus three different AI endpoints.
Yeah, awesome. So obviously, from an internal business perspective, these are all, all three are connected and all are there to help drive sort of revenue into the business, which was really exciting. But from a user perspective, let's sort of finish off today by sort of what's the ask? If someone's been watching this or watching the clip, what can you do today, or what we would like people to do today to help support the business, but also to help experience what's there now and be ready for what's coming?
If you're an end user, then go to timpi.com, start using the search engine to take a look at what unbiased, fair, unmanipulated results actually look like. I think it might surprise a few people. Additionally to that, download, we have a search companion, which is called the Timpi extension. It's a Chrome extension that you can download, and that gives you additional results. There's social elements into there. There's AI summaries. There's a whole host of very useful tools. So if you're an end user and a consumer, try out the search. Download the Timpi extension. They're incredible tools. If you're an organization, advertiser, media company, then please register before 31st July to take advantage of that founder credit and be ready to start loading your campaigns up there from next month. If you're a developer, then again, take a look at our agentic endpoints. I think you'll be very surprised about what we offer there. They will be released by the end of the month. And also check out our data platform, which will be going live at the same time. So a lot of calls for action, depending on who you are, a lot happening all at the same time.
But that's cool. That's it. I mean, hopefully we're capturing a number of people are watching these. So fantastic. I'll just add one thing to that. If you're not already following Timpi on X or Mastodon or Blue Sky, wherever you're watching this, there'll be links to those social platforms. So do follow us on the one that you use the most, and we'll be keeping you up to date with what's going on. Okay, well, thanks, Gareth. That was great. Appreciate your time. And yeah, we'll be planning some more of these moving forward.
Absolutely. Cheers, mate. Thanks, everyone.